All right, so a big controversial thing has sprung up in the crypto space, and that is the sanction of Tornado Cash. Tornado Cash, as of yesterday, was sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury. So you can really no longer use Tornado Cash, or you get in trouble if you do. And right behind that, Circle came out and started freezing a bunch of USDC and wallets that were associated with Tornado Cash. And again, this has caused a massive divide in the crypto space because there's people arguing on both sides. And here I am. I really sit in the middle because I can see the argument for both sides. Now, I've been in the crypto space for a while, and I do have to say that at the center of almost every hack, every exploit, or anything like that, Tornado Cash is involved if it's on Ethereum. And for those of you who don't know, what Tornado Cash is sort of like a fund mixer, I guess you would say. What you do is, if you have one ETH and you don't want people to be able to track where the Ethereum is going, you can take that ETH from one address, the one that's doxed per se, or that people know has the ETH. You deposit it into Tornado Cash, it slushes it in with a bunch of other people's funds and spits out the ETH on the other end into your other wallet. And that way it makes it pretty much untraceable. Now, I know it's more complicated than that, and there's more that goes on to it, but that's a high-level overview. Again, essentially, it's so that you can get money moved into an anonymous wallet. So if you do something like hack a project, you can slush all those funds into Tornado Cash, spit them out into your own private wallets on the other end, and nobody knows technically which wallet is yours and where the funds went, so it makes it really hard to target, freeze those wallets. So again, I mean, seriously, just about every hack that I've ever seen on Ethereum, the money goes through Tornado Cash. And the U.S. Treasury actually estimates that about $1.5 billion in proceeds of crimes such as ransomware, hacks, and fraud have been laundered through Tornado Cash. Now, I will say the U.S. Treasury is usually way behind the ball with its estimates, with its projections, and just about anything to do with the crypto space. They just simply do not have the technology or manpower, or I think even know-how to track all of it. So I would be willing to bet that the actual number of dollars that have been laundered through Tornado Cash from illegal activities is much higher than $1.5 billion. Again, it's almost like the steps of a hack. If you're gonna hack something, have traditionally been you hack the protocol, you take all the funds, you move them through Tornado Cash, and you split it up into a bunch of anonymous wallets on the other end. You move them to an exchange, withdraw, and now you have the money. And so I really do think that the true number of amount of ETH or dollars pushed through Tornado Cash is a lot higher than $1.5 billion. Now, the other side of this is that, okay, so you have the hackers, you got the people doing illegal stuff with Tornado Cash, but you also have people that were doing sort of good things with it. And a lot of us that are in more developed countries kind of forget the fact that the rest of the world isn't necessarily as free as we are to access the funds that we wish. And, in a lot of countries, maybe you don't want the government to know that you have dollars, right? So you put it into a private wallet because you don't want them coming for you. Or Vitalik gives a good case of where he used it to he used Tornado Cash to donate to Ukraine. And so, as we know, Vitalik has close connections and is from Russia, has been over there multiple times, talked to Putin, things like that. And so he's a guy that makes sense, right? Like maybe he doesn't want Russia and the Russian government to know that he is donating money to Ukraine, but he came out, he said this openly on his Twitter, so it's out there. But again, these are cases for Tornado Cash that, again, make a lot of sense, I think. But again, it's really a double-edged sword, and if I had to take a stab at it, I would say that it's probably more like 75% of the money that gets moved through Tornado Cash is a part of some tax evasion, laundering, hacking, whatever it is, and like maybe 25% is donations. Now, I know we're hearing all of the good cases of the money that's gone through Tornado Cash on Twitter, but it's easy to point these out, but the actual dollar amount that gets pushed through this, I'm sure, is a lot less on the good actor's side than it is on the bad actor's side. And so anyways, guys, I'm not trying to like stir the pot or anything here. I'm just saying that like if you dig into it, I'm sure that is the case. I haven't. So technically, yeah, if you got the numbers and I'm completely wrong, feel free to drop them down in the comment section. But again, if I had to put my money on one, gun to head, that's what I would say. So, again, though, I do see both sides, and I think what really worries people here is more the principle of this, because the fact of the matter is Tornado Cash is one protocol on Ethereum. There are a lot of other protocols that do the exact same thing on other chains. So this isn't like the end-all be-all. It's not like the U.S. Treasury bans them and now all of a sudden there's no way to do this kind of activity. You can now just move it to another chain, use the protocol on another chain that does the same thing, which is what I'm sure you're going to see happen. And this kind of cracks me up because it just shows how much and how far behind the ball the U.S. government really is, and governments in general really are. They truly don't seem to understand crypto end to end, and I don't even mean understand it like culturally. I'm not even talking about the meaning behind crypto. I'm just talking about understanding that there are other avenues that these people can use. And I know they're going to declare this as a big victory, stopping Tornado Cash, but the fact of the matter is, again, it's open source code. So anyone can copy this code, start another protocol up, and you just move it there. You're already seeing this in, I think it's a Sweden Vault opened Tornado Cash on their back end. So the U.S. can't do anything about that. So there's a lot of loopholes here. So again, it's not like this is destroyed and there's no more Tornado Cash and things like that ever, which for some people could be viewed as good and some be viewed as bad. And again, I see both sides here. But yeah, like I said, the fact that they came for Tornado Cash and just sort of ignored the rest, or didn't really give clear guidance on this, the halting of other protocols that do similar things. I guess it's sort of implied, but still, it's not. They really I feel like are way behind the ball in understanding crypto, which is part of the reason why I think we're having such a huge problem on the regulatory side. We've talked about this before, and I know this is sort of off topic here, but I would argue that it is sort of on topic as well, because this is the regulation, right? They've just determined that they don't want Tornado Cash to be a thing anymore, and so they sanctioned it. And that message there, I think, is the regulatory message there is what has people so up in arms about the whole thing, is that they went out, they sanctioned Tornado Cash, USD follows suit, so now people don't feel comfortable holding USDC, right? Because USDC can just freeze your money. So what's the point of crypto then? The whole ethos of crypto is supposed to be self-sovereign money that you control, that nobody can take away from you, a resource that you totally control. And if you're holding USDC, it's obvious that is not the case anymore, because all these people, these wallets and I'm not even sure how they deemed them associated with Tornado Cash, if they just used Tornado Cash at one point in time, if they were using it frequently. I don't know how they deem that, and I don't think they go out and explain it, but they froze it. So again, this USDC, the knowledge that USDC can just freeze your funds in your wallet that's more self-defeating than a bank account, really, because a bank account, it's sort of the same thing. You're not actually improving on the financial system we have now, and I think that's what's got a lot of people worried. And again, that whole piece of the pie is what's controversial here, because if the government can just go and sanction stuff and freeze all your money, then the ethos of crypto is sort of destroyed. Now, that's not Ethereum, the Ethereum itself, because I don't think Ethereum could or would do this and freeze the ETH in your wallet. That totally goes against what Vitalik is pushing for. Decentralization is his number one goal, obviously. And so, this is why decentralization is so important, is because regardless of the case or not, these people who got their money frozen on Tornado Cash, it's not like they had a choice, or they were able to plead give their side of the argument. What's going to happen instead is their money's going to get frozen, and they're not going to be able to use the money, and now they get to argue their case. So it's almost like guilty before proven innocent, which is totally the opposite of everything really in the space that I feel like we're trying to do here. So again, guys, wanted to bring the Tornado Cash subject up to you guys because it did just happen. I'll continue to follow it along if there's more that comes out of it, but I wanted to give you guys both sides of the argument so you can kind of see, where each side is coming from. Again, I personally see the good and the bad in it, and more so than that, again, we're talking about the signaling that this gives. Most people, I think, knew that this was coming to Tornado Cash. I mean, a project that's designed like that, it's sort of like XMR, it revolves totally around privacy, and as we know, the government does not like privacy. So it was pretty obvious that it was going to be a target, but I don't think people necessarily understood that, it was just overnight, all their stuff was going to be frozen, and so that's sort of a big issue there too as well. So guys, if this is your first video, please like and subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you guys along for the rest of the crypto journey. With that being said, I will see you next time.